What's up everyone? Today I want to tell you a story, or at least the beginning of a story. Back in my younger days, my mother used to give me some money to get a new video game every now and then when I had completed everything I had. But sometimes there just wasn't any new games that I was interested in buying, so what I did instead is, when my mum would go shopping in Blackpool, there was a GameStop in that shopping centre, so when I had the money, sometimes I would browse through the shelves and try to find the cheap second-hand games and try to bundle as many of them together as possible, just to get value for the money. And wouldn't you know, one day, I'm searching through the shelves, and I pick up this game, and it has an interesting looking cover. It has this badass looking guy in armour with an angry face staring at me. Has these aliens on the sides and in the background. It has ships, it has a moon, a planet, and it just looks interesting. And I'm not quite sure what the game was, but I heard something about it before, like it was going to be the video game equivalent to Star Wars. So I was like, I'll pick it up. Why not? I mean, it looked interesting. I'm a big fan of the sci-fi genre, so I was like, why not? Let's pick it up. Mind you, this was years ago now. This is like back in 2007 when it came. Probably 2008 because it was fairly cheap. I think it was like the €10 back then. It's crazy. Anyway, back to the story. I got the game along with several others, and I went home. And then that ended up being the first game I would put on, the one I would play with all the group. Wouldn't you know? Because I kept looking at the cover and I was intrigued. I was like, what type of game is this? It looks interesting, but I've never heard of it, like really. So I said, fuck it, let's do it. I threw it on, and by God, little did I know that I would be playing the first game in what would become my favourite video game series of all time. And that little game, ladies and gentlemen, is none other than Mass Effect. Now, Mass Effect is a game. It's an RPG made by, well, developed by Bioware, published by EA, that was made in 2007. It was kind of a departure from BioWare's normal pedigree, shall we say. They used to make turn-based RPGs or like that. Jade Empire, Baldur's Gate, KOTOR, even Dragon's Origins to an extent. So this was kind of a big departure for them. But because this was a third-person shooter mixed with RPG, and it was a risk, but I think it's a risk that paid off well, because this game, a lot of people really liked this game, and honestly, it was a phenomenal RPG. Well, at least to me it was, and then later on everyone else thought it was as well. But one other thing that was interesting about Mass Effect, compared to other games, is that they developed Mass Effect with the plan that the save file would be able to transfer to its sequence. Mass Effect was built to be part of a trilogy, and they wanted the save file. You wanted your decisions in the game, that to make them matter more and to have more impact, they would transfer to Mass Effect 2 and then to Mass Effect 3. And it would actually be a connected trilogy as a whole. And honestly, that just intrigued the hell out of me. I was so fascinated. And it worked, because every decision you made, you're like, well, how would this come back in Mass Effect 2? It made the decisions more intriguing, but also made it more impactful. They added some weight to them, some gravity. It wasn't just, oh, let's try it, that's good, let's move on. You actually thought about it. And it also helped that the decisions in this game were really interesting. They were complex. I'll be going through all this as I go talking through the game, but they weren't just like shoot this guy or shoot this guy. You really had to think about some of these decisions. You didn't know whether this was the right decision or it was the wrong decision. And sometimes there was no wrong. It was just a matter of perspective. And Mass Effect as a whole has always been about a matter of perspective in a way. At least the first two were. 3 kind of, that muddles the line a little, but we'll get to that when we get to 3. But what Mass Effect also added was this Paragon and Renegade system. Now, in most games, even back in their other RPGs such as KOTOR, you had a good and evil system, pretty much, a karma meter. A lot of games had it. And you could choose to do good actions or bad actions. Mass Effect did it kind of a little bit differently though, because what Mass Effect did is that they had the Paragon and Renegade system. None of them were actually evil, but Renegade at first, some people would confuse it for evil because you're doing what people would perceive as bad things. You're being aggressive with people. But it's not actually evil, it's just a different way of getting things done. Put it this way. If there's this bouncer, there was a bouncer at a nightclub, and he won't get out of your way, and he's working for a criminal, for the boss of this nightclub, who's a known gangster. You have two choices, right? Well, you have kind of three. There's usually the Paragon option, there's a Renegade type option, and then there's a neutral option. But for the sake of this example, let's just stick with the Paragon and Renegade. So, you go up and you try to be a Paragon, which is diplomatic. You try to talk him down, try to convince him to let you through to deal with Fisk. Or, you can go the Renegade option, which is, you basically just threaten him and ends up in a fight, you kill him and you're walking through. No, the outcome is pretty much the same. You will end up getting through. And this is a kind of a small example, because this choice doesn't really matter. It's just a neat feature to have. It kind of shows that both options are suitable, that both options are not necessarily evil, but one tends to be a bit more, let's try to be peaceful, and the other is like, okay, you're in my way, I gotta take up by any means necessary. Your Renegade is basically just whatever it takes. The actions are all necessary. I'm trying to think of a phrase that describes what, possibly. There's a phrase that was used in a lot of movies, and I think that would be a perfect way for describe Renegade. I'm trying to think what it is. But it was basically, I feel, this, I have such a blank moment now, it's ridiculous. But what it is basically, oh, got it, I hope I did. The act, oh my god, I'm back, this is just going so wrong right now. Whatever it is, it's like the actions are seen as okay as long as the right outcome is achieved. That is not what I wanted to say, but that's roughly what I wanted to get across. Sorry about that, that was just a complete mind blank. I'll remember this after now, and I swear to God it's going to piss me off. But anyway, continuing. But the thing that was interesting with the Paragon and Renegade system is that you had to upgrade it. You weren't just naturally Paragon. You couldn't just walk through the game and say Paragon everything, or go through Renegade everything. You had to actually, as part of a skill, you had to level up. In most RPGs, you level up your attack, your defense, your health, your magic, your stamina, other stuff, what have you. In this, you upgrade your gun skill, your shields. But then you also have to upgrade Paragon or Renegade, how good you are. And the more you upgrade it, the better. It's like a barter. It's like upgrading your barter in like fantasy games, for example. Or your, I guess in Fallout it would be seen as your, oh my god, this is not going well for me at all. I know these things, I've played these games. Oh, you know what I mean. Your speech, oh my god. Speech for Fallout. That, my god, I started off so well and now it's just going downhill. Sorry, look, I have bullet points, but I don't write scripts. I try to be as authentic as possible, so I may slip up here and down, so hopefully just forgive me and we'll get through this. And hopefully have an interesting discussion while doing it. Anyway, back, yeah. You upgrade the Renegade and Paragon like you would not follow with your speech. And the better you do, the more chances you'll get to use these, and you'll be able to progress and have more interesting scenarios because you've upgraded them. Thing is though, here's the tricky thing. To get the best possible outcome in these games and all the situations you will need a Paragon or Renegade, here's a tip. It's better to upgrade just Paragon or Renegade, because there'll be some decisions later on, and especially in Mass Effect 2, where if you don't have the thing fully upgraded, like you want Paragon or you want fully Renegade for the entire game, it won't be open for you. You'll get a worse outcome than what you could have gotten if you had full Paragon or Renegade. It's just another element that adds to the replayability of the Mass Effect games. Because replayability was a giant thing on Mass Effect. The choices, the two different voice actors for male and female who both did a phenomenal job, the different characters, the different outcomes. Oh, it's so good. This game is so good. It's one of my favourites and I cannot wait to dive more in depth with it. So, aside from me screwing up, I hope you enjoyed this video. And this is the beginning of a journey with Mass Effect. I'll be releasing more videos as soon as possible. We're diving into the game and pretty much just discussing what I think of each part of the game, such as levels and characters. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you next time.